What's up, guys? It's Pokemon Masters Council. We are back. We're talking about the newest Pokemon added to Pokemon Unite, DELPHOX.
Yeah, really happy. She dropped actually a day earlier here in Michigan than what we thought, just because of the time difference from Japan. Their midnight on the 9th is like 8 p.m. on the 8th for us, or some weird stuff like that.
And let's be honest, we're not numbers guys. If it's coming out at 1900 hours UTC, I don't know when that is.
So we're really happy. It was just a day early for us, so happy to put this right out on Thursday morning. So Brandon just got out of work. We did a little bit of recording today. And we're really happy that we ended up getting some footage done of DELPHOX. So we got to play quite a few games, both last night with Sport Ninja, and then today with Zero. Everyone in the PMC Council, everyone at the round table, all of us masters have got to try her out extensively, both in practice and real games, multiple moves. Really happy. So, Brandon, I know you're a huge fan of this lady. So, what do you think? So, who is she? What is she all about?
Well, before I give you guys my thoughts on DELPHOX, just wanted to remind you that we do have a podcast. We will be linking that in the description. Check it out. We are on Spotify and we are on YouTube. You can watch us have a conversation if you want, or just take us with you on your
because we post stuff up on screen.
And So you can check us out on Spotify. Give us a 5-star review.
5-star dives.
5 stars. We're looking for 5 stars. All right. So anyway, let's talk about DELPHOX again. So DELPHOX is a new attacker class, very mage-like, like Gardevoir.
But kind of like a hybrid between like Gardevoir and Cinderace, it feels like.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about DELPHOX is the floor is higher, but I'd say the ceiling's a little lower, potentially. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. So Gardevoir definitely scales better. And once, her Unite move is definitely way stronger in terms of just raw output than DELPHOX. Psyshock is insane. It's better than it's ever been, but Ralts is still really a big detriment because it only has Confusion. Teleport does no damage, so you're kind of just kind of dancing around in the lazy river until you hit level 5 when you can really start trading.
Yeah.
And but they're both very similar in that you have to really watch your positioning.
Yes.
Being a less than hypermobile mage, a pretty stationary-esque mage. In MOBAs, there's always, that threat. You always want to take Summoner Flash, or in this game, where we'll talk about the eject button, just to be able to really watch your positioning. But it does have, Brandon, you want to talk about the evolution real quick here. So, in lane, obviously, you can see here, you evolve really quick.
Yeah.
You're already, Brazian, you're basically like playing your Ninetales.
Yeah, so this is another advantage that DELPHOX has over characters like Gardevoir and Cinderace is you evolve at level 4.
Yeah.
But you don't get another move until level 6.
So you don't get your first upgrade until when you're actually DELPHOX, similar to Cinderace.
Yep, and luckily they remedied this with a pretty strong early game move, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, as far as leveling goes, levels 4 and level 6. 6 is when you hit DELPHOX, so it's a pretty nice.
Pretty quick. It's the same evolution as Serena, but you're not getting moves.
Yeah.
Before that, but so I guess we can talk about moves. The fact that you do have this early game pressure, it feels to me like what we've talked about on the channel before with Bulbasaur, how he stands out apart from a lot of the other starters, is that he's actually strong early. Yes. He doesn't need to evolve to Raboot or Frogadier, etc. Like, he's strong as Bulbasaur, mainly due to his Razor Leaf.
Yeah.
Seed Bomb's great too, but Razor Leaf is where the damage is really at. So Fennekin, obviously, she's super adorable.
Yes,
Fennekin and Brazian have Will-O-Wisp, which is great. It's an AoE bomb and it slows.
Yep.
Decent damage, but we have Ember.
Yes. Yeah.
Fireball,
yeah. So Ember, really strong early game tool, really good for securing camps and picking up KOs. It doesn't crit at all.
No, it does.
It does.
She has 0% natural crit chance.
Natural crit.
Yeah, she never gains any natural scaling crit the way some attackers like Cinderace will.
Yeah.
But her auto attacks can crit the way any auto attack can.
Okay.
And especially her Ember, and then we'll talk about her Mystical Fire. Their fireballs can crit. So Ember is such a good tool. It's great for clearing minions, like Apom or the Corefish, securing stuff like that. It's great for poking and harassing. We've obviously, as you can see here, we're doing a lot of pairing here on screen with the Wigglytuff and the Sing, and Brandon just nukes people.
Solid.
The last thing we'll talk about before we really get into the deep and gritty of it is that all 4 moves feel viable.
They do.
This is a really good kit.
Yeah.
We thought maybe on paper it was just like, oh, here comes another attacker, but there's a lot of little nuances here that make it really interesting.
Yeah. So I think the first one we will talk about. Well, should we want to talk about some items first before we get into moves?
Yeah. So what do you think so far? You've played quite a few games, and you've played a couple different item choices. Doug as well, and then mine as well. So between all of us, we have about 20 games under our belts. We've tried about 5 different held items.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of like the activatable, the battle item?
Battle items.
The battle item. So, my personal choice, I'm a big fan of the button.
Yes.
Same as on Gardevoir.
Yeah. I think this is a very similar situation unless you take her mobility move, which we'll talk about in a second. I did try its attack, and I did try the button. I've yet to try Slow Smoke.
Which I think Doug did try. And I also did try the potion.
Okay.
The potion was okay, but again, same as Gardevoir, like I need to be able to jump out.
Yeah, you do, for sure. There were some instances where I wish I had the button.
Yeah, and maybe we'll show a clip right here on screen where like you can see obviously if Brandon had the button, obviously right there, obviously he had the button, would have just jumped right out, got out of that mess, and he would have clearly lived this encounter.
Yep. So then held items. What did you run for your held items?
So this one we're all pretty similar. I know Sport Ninja, myself, and then you, we 3 had the first 2 slots were all the same, and that's double glasses.
Yes.
Wise glasses and choice specs. You never leave home without both, especially right now with a burst mage the way that she is.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yep.
And then the third item is kind of where we flavored seasoned taste. I personally love the score shield. Doug was playing around with the shell bell as well as the special attack specs, and he did try, I think, the shell bell and the focus band.
Yeah.
And then you were trying the focus band, right?
Band, yep. I ran double glasses and focus band on all of my builds.
And what'd you think?
I did like it.
Yeah.
This character is pretty squishy.
Yeah.
So the focus band is definitely your new go-to defensive item.
And then that with button.
After the buddy barrier, yeah. So focus band plus button is what's going to help you get out of some of those really tight situations.
Yeah. So I guess we'll get into the moves here. So like we talked about, and we already showed off the Will-O-Wisp and Fire Spin, and when you do evolve to DELPHOX here, you see we have the option to either transform our Ember into either Fire Blast or Mystical Fire, which is like the pseudo like signature move for DELPHOX.
Yeah.
So Mystical Fire is sort of the bread and butter. That's kind of what we think maybe is the better of the 2 options, but they're both good.
Yes, they are.
So there's a subtle nuance between the 2.
Yeah, that subtle nuance is that Fire Blast can go through targets and hit multiple enemies.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like AoE.
Yep, whereas Mystical Fire, a little more damage. It can crit, but it only hits 1 target. So
it'll explode and do an AoE splash, but like its main thing is just the first thing hit. So it means it can be body blocked by, a Snorlax or a Blastoise, one of these Mamoswine, one of these big body characters, Substitute. Yeah. So there's a lot of potential things that could like literally get in the way.
Yeah.
But Mystical Fire, as you can see here, Fire Blast, as you can see here on screen in front of you. Here's a little example as you shoot it off. There's the first tick when it goes through, and then it explodes from the ground. There's the second tick. Does really good damage. You can pair it with the Fire Spin, get the stun, and all that type of stuff. Mystical Fire, on the other hand, is sort of what we like, maybe a little more. It's got a lower cooldown, big damage, it can crit, and if you hit anything with it, you get more cooldown reduction.
Yeah.
So you can just start spamming a little more. Fireball!
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. And then that level 6 and level 7 here, as you see, we get our other move. So what are our 2 options here?
We've got Fire Spin or Flame Charge. This is where the big decisions come in. Flame Charge.
Yep. So Flame Charge, that's the dash.
Yep.
So technically, I guess the pairing is supposed to be Flame Charge and Mystical Fire. It's supposed to like dash around. It's just basically kind of like a mystical fire from Sylveon. It's kind of
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
So you dash, little fireballs come out. It does okay damage, it's whatever, but it's the fact you have mobility, which is nice.
Yes.
You can dash over little walls with it.
Yep.
You don't face plant, so that's really, really cool. But let's talk about the wish list that I was given, the present that I was given.
Yeah.
This is almost verbatim exactly what I wished back a couple podcasts ago when we were talking about, and in our wish list video on YouTube that we talked about for DELPHOX, it's Fire Spin.
Yes.
It basically checked every box that I had and then some. So as you can see here, Fire Spin chases.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right in. What is this move? This is crazy.
This move is so good because
For so many reasons.
the Fire Spin will chase and kind of pull you in like a whirlpool.
Almost like Gardevoir's ulti a little bit, where it like sucks you into the middle.
Yep.
And then it spins you around, see? Just like we're playing Hurricane on the duck.
Yeah, so on paper I wanted to like Flame Charge better. And I still think there is a place for Flame Charge, but I think Fire Spin is so good right now, especially when you catch people out. Like if you're hiding in a bush.
And you can catch multiple people. It's a solid AoE. It's not as big as Aurora Veil, but you can see there on screen. You can catch multiple people. It's good tick damage. It chases. It spins and CCs. It allows you to hold people in place to make sure you hit your Fireball, which is, it can miss.
Yeah.
Or, to be able to hit both ticks of Fire Blast.
Yep.
Which is, so either way, it's just a really strong move. It's solid damage, good CC, good range. It chases. There's not really a downside to it.
I don't think so. The only downside is that you would be forced into running the button.
Correct.
Over a more
In my
fun
opinion,
item.
you probably have to run the button. You could run Slow Smoke with this, but I think the button is just more effective.
I think so too.
So yeah, the combo that we're actually going to coin right now as like our first, because this is like our first impressions, right?
Yeah.
So I think the build is going the diagonal combo.
I think so
you
too.
go Fire Spin, Mystical Fire, and that's basically the big footage that we're gonna have here. You pop off in this game. Unfortunately, we do force a scoop here.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, but you do end up getting the crown in this game. So we got some great footage to show off. You can see obviously on screen just the combination here of Sing and then any amount of burst damage that DELPHOX can put out. Like Wigglytuff is already an S tier combination in with anything.
Yep.
He makes everything great.
Yep.
But the combination that there's this much burst early with Ember, you lock them down and just pow right in the kisser and they're done. Look at this double kill, triple kill early in lane before you're even DELPHOX.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really strong. But once you actually are DELPHOX, let's talk about the combo. Because you're the PMC attacker class, right? So the Fire Spin, Mystical Fire. How does it feel? What does it play like? What do you do?
Feels really good.
Yeah.
Once you get that down, once you get that feeling of using the Fire Spin to kind of keep your enemy in place and then hitting them with that burst
and like making sure your positioning is correct, that you're always shooting over your tank's shoulder.
Yeah, and
it's almost like if the tank is in the middle, that monkey in the middle, and the enemy moves to the left, well then you move down to the right and you keep that tank, me being the Wigglytuff here, in between here. You can see his positioning. He flashes out. That Dragonite would have killed him if he not had that button right there.
Yeah.
That Hyper Beam with that Dragonite easily would have killed him. And now look, because he lived, he's able to come back around, re-enter the fight. He's low, he's blinking red, but he's not in danger now because he repositioned.
Yep.
So, and now he's able to pick up that kill. Let's talk about the Unite move here.
So the Unite move, really cool animation. It's fireworks.
Different.
I don't know why it's fireworks,
But I like it.
I like it. It's cool. It's got a fun sound effect. Yeah. But it's a big AoE.
Massive.
Deals tick damage and reduces healing.
Yeah, so it's not a crazy amount of damage per tick.
No, it's
but it is huge.
Yeah.
It does reduce enemy healing, which is massive for things like AoE team fights, especially if you're trying to siege a goal.
Yep.
And it lasts for 8-second duration. So, yes, it's not a lot of damage, but at big fights, let's say around a Dreadnought, around a Zapdos, around Rotom, things like that. Or, obviously, especially Zapdos in the middle, you get those bunched up.
Yeah.
8 seconds is a very long time to have, like, this sort of, if you walk in here, you're gonna start taking damage. And now our Greninja can now pop in when you're low, or this, or there's a lot of options that opens up to have an 8-second duration, and it's reduced healing on top of that. So, yes, the burst might not be there the same way you might have thought or expected, but do not underestimate the power in a team composition for an 8-second duration.
It also makes potential objective sniping a little easier because it's tick damage and lasts so long. You could probably put this...
Just drop it on top of a Dreadnought.
Yeah, you could put this on a Zapdos when they're,
A third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that's not so precise.
Yep.
So, let's give them our closing thoughts, Justin. What do you think about DELPHOX?
I'm really happy with her release. She feels really, really good. She's fun to play. There are some subtle nuances that make her unique and different while still just being an attacker. And the fact that they leaned into her mage characteristics rather than like a marksman the same way like a Cinderace or a Greninja are, even Decidueye. There's a lot of auto attack type of stuff that you do even with Sylveon and Espeon respectively. So like the fact that, yeah, her auto attacks are there and they're very useful. Her boosted auto is great. But the fact that like she feels very mage-like Gardevoir is the first time we've had somebody like that in a while to this extent. Like, again, we'll bring up the 2 evolutions.
Yeah.
Definitely mage-like as well. But yeah, it just feels really good. I love the wand.
Yeah, that
Big fan.
Looks so good.
And I guess we'll talk about, the tier.
Yeah.
Where do you think she's going to drop? Day 1. This is our day 1 prediction or guess or thoughts, feelings on it. She's pretty good.
I'm personally going to put this character in like a top of B / like an A tier, especially like for solo queue.
That's where I was thinking. It was A tier for solo queue. This is a super solid mage.
Yeah,
good damage.
Not so much investment to get good at the character.
Yep, it's a solid in lane.
It pays dividends.
Super solid
early.
in lane as long as you watch your positioning and you play the role correctly in terms of like you don't overextend. And I'm just supposed to harass with Ember. It's really good harass.
And you're not forcing a certain type of team comp or partner in your lane.
Correct, because anybody can go with you.
Like Gardevoir, you're hoping with.
You don't need your handheld like maybe a Machamp or a Charmander.
Exactly.
So I think she fits really, really nicely. I think she has a lot of fun moves. She has a lot of good utility while also being big damage and different types of damage.
Yeah.
Fire Spin, maybe.
Yeah,
Fire Spin is the here. That's the truth. That's the new meta.
It's correct.
So good. So yeah, let's get out of here. Let's go play some more Unite. Until next time. I've been Gym Leader Justin.
And I'm Zero.
Council's adjourned.